Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleague Jose Levy. Jose will be today's presenter and will discuss the topic of unlocking the power of AI for strategic portfolio management with OnePlan, a Gartner use case prism alignment. This webinar is a new addition to our series of strategic portfolio management videos, so if you enjoy this webinar, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jose.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks everyone for joining us today on our second webinar on the power of AI for strategic portfolio management with OnePlan. We'll be talking about some of the same topics that we covered last time, but today we're actually going to be addressing the specific use cases and the way we are coming about in generating the use cases for strategic portfolio management. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that everybody understands what strategic portfolio management is. It's a topic that it's dear to our heart. We build our solution around it. One of the primary scenarios or use cases that we address, and it actually is comprised of three different use cases. And even within those use cases, there are sub-use cases. But the point is that here, what we want to address is that each of these has specific stories and specific roles, and for generative AI, you will also have specific use cases for each one of these. So while we're trying to obtain the benefits overall of creating efficiency, lowering costs, accelerating, enhancing decision making, there's different roles that will be involved in making use of it, and it's really also about the different layers or domains. So for strategic execution management, we're talking about the highest levels of the organization. So there might be some financial forecast, some performance plan that has been defined, and out of those we will derive probably a set of objectives and key results. If you're not using another methodology, which could be OGSM, it could be BSC, it could be KPIs, but at the end of the day, strategic execution management really is about the investment planning around that defined strategy, and then making the alignment, making the connection to the desired business outcome, which is the buzzword now. We're all trying to manage business outcomes. The second scenario is the one that probably everybody's familiar with within the portfolio project management space, which is enterprise project portfolio management, or the EPMO. And there we're talking about interrelated, interdependent portfolios, and you're taking the strategy, those OKRs, and really breaking it down into initiatives that you're going to be tracking, and the delivery of those initiatives is also included within there. So we're now at the lower level, where we are looking at the portfolios of projects and epics that actually get us to the key results, which get us to the objective. The last is IPA, IT investment portfolio analysis, and really what we're looking at the all of our initiatives from the IT dimension, and really with a focus on enterprise architecture and all of the elements of a meta model for an organization, which might include capabilities, value streams, applications. And one of the primary use cases within IPA is application portfolio management. So, that is an area that will also, be relevant to the use of AI. So we're really trying to figure out how we can apply generative AI to these specific areas of SPM. So the challenge continues. So, we're trying to orchestrate enterprise change. We're prioritizing cross-functional investments and trying to figure out how to maximize resource usage across the organization. And we are being asked to speed up our delivery. We need to deliver deliver value, not only the projects, but the results that come out of it that are going to get us to our objectives. And by the way, this is from surveys from Gartner, which we cite. Again, the challenge continues. So we need to be able to achieve delivery of that value at an accelerated pace. And at the same time, success has been proven by organizations that are able to connect these three dynamics, which is achieving alignment, which is really connecting strategy to execution. So having a very good understanding of the initiatives that are going to impact results, key results that are going to deliver the objectives. And can you actually get to the point of establishing causation between what you're actually delivering and the outcomes that you're expecting. The second is on the left, value-driven decision making, going beyond the business case and actually focusing on that business outcome that I talked about, and being very precise in terms of developing that business case, being objective rather than subjective in terms of the selection criteria. And then finally, having portfolio flexibility, which means that you're adaptive as changes occur in the market, as changes occurs in the economy with your customers, you're able to shift and are able to make decisions within the portfolio to bring in new projects, put others on hold, reprioritize on a more frequent basis in order to reflect those changes. And it's been proven that if you are actually able to achieve these three, you're going to be able to deliver on your strategy 2.5 times better than the competition. So again, what tools can we use? How can we enhance our strategic portfolio management capabilities internally so that we can get to that a higher level of performance within the organization? So that's really what OnePlan is all about. And for those that don't know of us, here we have a representation of our capabilities across a life cycle. And again, this is a oversimplification because we can actually model against any life cycle that your organization might have. So we have on the top intake, planning, execution, and delivery. But if you actually wanted to break it up and have strategy before intake, in order to reflect strategy execution management, there we could do that. Even if this was a lean portfolio management life cycle, the process steps will be different. But our feature set can accommodate whatever that life cycle is for you. And here we represent that we begin with strategic planners, again, where the strategy execution is actually occurring. From there, ideas are being generated and selected, to be included, to be evaluated based on, whatever your intake or demand process is. At the same time, there's enterprise architecture that might be taking place in terms of the target architecture that the organization is leaning towards in terms of improving its capabilities, its applications. We move into planning where we have, the core EPMO scenario where we're talking about portfolio planning, very closely tied to capacity planning, very closely tied to, financial planning, and, making sure that we're getting the outcomes expected out of our initiatives. Execution, it's very much tied to the delivery and making sure that projects or agile plans have tasks defined and are following, governance. Team members are able to view their work either through a formal timesheet or through a My Work task page, so they can give us an update on the work that they're doing. And then finally, it all comes together in terms of being able to address leadership executives with status reports, dashboards, and visualizations for dependency. So we have all this within OnePlan as a solution. And again, it can be modified both from a configuration standpoint and a process standpoint to address, how you're actually working internally and how you desire to improve on that process. So what we've done, as you see below here, we've added the artificial intelligence layer, and that's really what we're here to talk about, how that capability within OnePlan can accelerate improvement in any of these specific areas within SPM. So it's important to note that it applies across the enterprise. And what we mean by that is, while we have the EPMO and strategy at an enterprise level, when you break it down into individual either business units or functional areas, you can take in the SPM scenario and apply it to that specific area. So really the end goal is to enable the entire organization, while at the same time making sure that you can address the specific requirements that any of these areas might have. So the way that you would use SPM capabilities in IT will obviously be different than you would in a professional services business unit. But again, you're trying to achieve the same goals in terms of speed to value delivery and alignment to your strategy and your OKRs. The point here is that OnePlan can actually accommodate any one of these areas specifically, as well as at an overall enterprise level. So let's move on to AI and how we're going to actually support SPM and enhance it with these capabilities. This is a kind of a representation of the timeline of how things have evolved. And AI is not necessarily a new topic. It's actually started in the earliest citation I could find is in the 90s within Bell Labs. It was actually being used to generate music. So generative AI has been around for some time, and it's evolved as technology has improved and advancements in machine learning have improved. We've gotten to the point where we are now within a time frame where generative AI is generally available. And the big event that occurred was in November of last November, which I'll talk about in a second. So the technology's been around. It's been used by corporations also, since that time frame. But now it's generally available for anybody to use, and at a much more improved state, I would say, based on the usage that was occurring before last November. We're also accelerating. So we're getting to the point now, and you're starting to see experiments of services where it's generative AI will not only be there for us, but it will be automated to the point where a lot of the use cases that I'm about to show you by using Sophia GPT, our product, within the context of SPM will be automated to the point where we wouldn't have to actually really enter any information. Some of these queries and prompts will already be there for us, and there will be automation behind them, and that's really the next step, where we are going to be autonomous in the realm of SPM. We're not there yet, but we're accelerating towards that point. And just as a point of reference, as I said, corporate uses of generative AI have been around for some time, so it's not new in that sense. And the common use cases for generating content, you can see all the ones that are listed there. They're fairly common uses of the technology. What happens in November 2022 is that OpenAI releases or makes generally available to the public ChatGPT, and at that point, the use of generative AI is not only available to corporations, that have the resources and have the scientists and the specialists to actually apply it across the business. Now we can all make use of it. to the point that the statistics are kind of outstanding. Really, it takes ChatGPT 5 days to reach 1 million users. It took Instagram the next fastest one 2.5 months. We're at 100 million users already within ChatGPT, and you can see below the statistics in terms of the usage between that and different services that are available. This is likely to grow. So now as a tool for enhancing how we do our work, this is now readily available, and OnePlan is making it available by including it as part of its product. So with that, for those that were part of the prior webinar or saw our press release, we have Sophia GPT, which is our generative AI collaborator capability within the OnePlan solution. Some important distinctions. We are integrating the Azure OpenAI GPT, which means that it is not the publicly available one for OpenAI. This is a much more secure environment, protected by the benefits of Microsoft tenancy, Azure tenancy, and security. And very similar in the way that our SaaS solution works in terms of our data protection. We're making sure that you have the level of comfort that we provide with our SPM solution as you would with the use of this specific feature. So as a natural language model, it's going to respond in real time. If you've used any of this already, it's very similar to the ChatGPT experience. And what we want to do is to streamline all of the use cases within SPM, which deal with strategic execution management, the EPMO scenario, and IIPA. The data actually that is used by Sophia GPT is the data that's within OnePlan. So it's kind of an interesting. I think it's a good problem to have, but now we really have to focus on better data quality and improving the data quality and data integrity within OnePlan, because that's what will actually be used in order to improve the decision making that Sophia GPT will help us with. So we're going to go through next through the use cases, but basically the way that we are building the feature set and we'll be enhancing Sophia GPT is on these very specific use cases that have been defined by Gartner and other analysts in ways that we can increase the value of strategic portfolio management. So this is not just something that we're adding for the sake of being trending. We are really focusing on delivering the value to the end user, to the personas of strategic portfolio management in the 3 different scenarios. So let's go quickly through them. So I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to go through some specific examples so that you can appreciate what we can do. And I would say that we're just scratching the surface, really, in terms of understanding the full potential. Every day we come up with a new prompt that is amazing in terms of speeding up analysis or enhancing decision making. The way I've laid this out, we have our use cases. On the left, we have a short description of what they mean, the benefit that we anticipate obtaining from executing the use case, and then the roles. Right now, the majority of the work that we've done, is around augmented data entry and automated information retrieval. It's probably the more common use case in order to support, and you'll see that we focus a lot on the project manager, but the portfolio manager, as you'll see, will also benefit significantly from the first 2, augmented data entry and automated information retrieval. Communication automation, we have an example of that, and it's very valid in terms of reducing the time that it takes to generate communications. I think a lot of that will start becoming automated, and so that we can leverage the output together with email or workflows for alerts. Resource estimation always is to our users, a key point. One of the primary use cases in project portfolio management. So you'll see here that there are some use cases that we or some scenarios and prompts that we've already developed for resource estimation, which are really valuable. And I think we'll, as we become better at providing better data, more detailed data, I think that area will grow even more, because we'll get to the point where we'll be able to actually optimize entire resource pools. And that's really what everybody's always asking for. How can we take this set of projects, take this demand, existing and future, and optimize it for within a specific scenario. Underperforming investments, very relevant to portfolio managers, PMO leads. We have some interesting prompts in that area. Forecast completion and spending, and budget plan optimization. This is more on the financial side of portfolio management, but also relevant to a project manager in terms of optimizing costs. And again, we have some prompts for that. Risk management in any modality is important. So it's quite impressive in terms of risk identification, for a project schedule or even a portfolio. And here we're trying to mitigate risk before they impact our initiatives. Defect reduction, even if not when I first read this, I thought, okay, this has to deal with specifically code, but here we're looking at project data and seeing where defects are likely to transpire. What are the risk of defects, and can we propose improvements? And then finally, data anomalies. I think in this area we're going to be the area of governance is going to be enhanced significantly, because we're going to be able to identify outliers, indicate errors, and then take corrective action on our project and portfolio initiatives. So in most cases, you can see that the project manager and portfolio manager, PMO leads, are the ones that are the primary actors. Obviously, for the resource scenarios, the resource managers are the ones that are going to be primary, the primary actors. But we've tried to address a lot of these. One area that is not here right now is the team members, but I think we will eventually get to that point also, where we will be able to support team members in completing their work based on a set of parameters for a task list. So stay tuned for those use cases. So let's go and show you some of these. So the first one is really, I think it's pretty amazing here. I need some OKRs for a digital transformation office. Okay, so I'm just getting started, and I don't know anything about digital transformation, or I just need to make sure that I am very precisely addressing the key results. So this is interesting because it not only gives me the objectives, but the key results. So I think it's important to note in all of these that we are still in control, and we are still driving, which means that this great content, I still have to make it, consume it, make it relevant to my organization, enhance it, edit it, and then make use of it. But again, in minutes, you will have drafted a set of OKRs where this could have taken hours or even days, depending on the level of knowledge that you have or specificity. So I think it adds great value to have something so quick generated that we can actually make use of. Let's go to the next level and say, okay, what if I want to actually generate key results for an objective? And this is an interesting one, because I happen to focus on strategic execution management, and for me, really the concept of causation is really important. So here, I have some other live cases for this that I want to show you in a second, but in a few minutes. But here you can see that I have I've stated the objective, and here I have 10 possible key results that I could be applying. Again, you're in minutes able to complete a strategic execution management component where it would take a long more time to just generate them in a blue sky scenario. So great value to strategic execution, strategic leaders in terms of being able to complete the OKRs. If I take it to the next level, now I have a PMO intake lead. So now I'm in the ideation area, and I have to complete items in order to get them to the next level within the organization. And actually, this one actually is is mislabeled. We're actually now writing to the ideation steering committee. This is a communication scenario, actually. So this is I've asked Sophia GPT to actually write to the ideation steering committee to let them know that we have now the ideation portfolio, or the ideation list. But we're not even a portfolio yet. We're selecting ideas to promoting ideas for our upcoming selection process, and I'm letting them know, hey, this is ready to go now. We have all the completed information, and what I really like about this is that we have key criteria that should be considered. So I would have never have thought, and now I'm actually telling them that through this communication, that what I need to do is have this criteria as consideration in order to make the selection. I was very specific here in my prompt also that I wanted to focus on Horizon 1, Horizon 2 projects for the end of May 2023. So that was also taken into account. So again, this is the part where communication is enhanced, and we anticipate that from here we'll be able to, in short order, within via GPT, be able to press the button and take it to Outlook, and then issue the communication to our steering committee. We'll go to so this is idea selection based on criteria. So now where I'm actually wearing the role where I actually want to derive a scenario based on specific criteria. So I'm going to go through, and I am focusing on sales growth, growing sales, and improving customer success. And I actually have a budget constraint of 3 million. So based on those two criteria, growing sales and from my key results, what are the ideas that I should select? So it's interesting here because I also placed a constraint of 3 million, and it from the analysis of my ideation area within OnePlan, which has ideas with a prioritization score and a preliminary budget. It gave me 13 projects with a total of 1.5 that are addressing growing sales and customer success. And from here you would go through and select them, or note them as a recommended scenario that you can make. This is a different one. So here I did a different scenario where I said, okay, give me, based on prioritization score and a balanced investment horizon. So what we did in this in ideation, we actually defined investment horizons. So Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3. And you can see here that I get a list of projects that have will balance my investment horizon. And in this case, my 3 million constraint, I get to actually 2.689 million. So again, I use that to limit the number, and it gave me 19 projects with their budget. I've done this prompt slightly differently, and it actually provides you a little bit more data on the grid. So this is all about also how we actually define the prompt, the question that we're asking. Obviously, having good data also in your as part of your, in our case, our ideation area, makes a big difference. Now we're going down to automated data entry by a project manager. So I think there's a ton of value for project managers here to make life simpler. And this is, you know, a project, our project detail form. This is a specific project framework to port applications to devices, and you can see here that I have some of the metadata defined for the project. This is an active project, and here I'm going to ask SophiaGPT to define the description, business case, and value statement. So, you know, if I have enough information within my plan details, then I don't have to go through the painstaking process of specifically generating a narrative for all three of them. And here I'm being suggested a full description, a business case, and a value statement. And again, it doesn't remove us from reviewing it, editing it, and perfecting it, but still, it's a great start. Something that, you know, could have taken, again, hours. I'm now able to make use of it, improve it, enhance it, and then you know, make it part of my my project plan. So here's my description, my business case, and value statement. So the next one, I think it's quite impressive. You know, for organizations that don't have templates, or maybe you have projects that are new projects that don't have templates. Here, we're going to create a new project, and in this case, we're going to actually generate a project schedule from it. Now, OnePlan has the ability to add templates. So, you know, if you happen to have your own templates, you know, as part of an implementation, we typically include templates. But in this case, it's the example of a project that is just a brand new project. We've never done it before. So what's a reasonable template that we can use? And here, again, SophiaGPT is going through, defining the work breakdown structure, defining the resource types, which I could be mapping, by the way. You saw that I actually mapped it. And then it's going through and actually giving me the WBS. Now, from here, I can then make changes to it, you know, insert dependencies, change any of the specific durations that I might want to in order to, you know, formalize in my plan. I can further use prompts to evaluate the data within the schedule. So this is the information retrieval part of it, of the use case. So we created the schedule. Now I've asked to rank the task by highest and explain why. I think what I appreciate is the why, because it's actually giving you the rationale behind the risks. And so from a project manager standpoint, you have the ability to use SophiaGPT to enhance your project plan. I happen to like this one because status reports are always tough. So in this case, you might already have a lot of the content because you've been you know, updating your schedule, updating your metrics, your financial plan, your resource plan. But, you know, coming up with the actual narrative can be challenging, depending on your writing ability. So in this case, I have our status report form, which is, you know, the OnePlan status report form, which actually allows the project manager to submit a status report to an approver, and it's really a subset of the plan details page. But we're still missing the narrative. So here I went ahead and asked SophiaGPT, hey, can you provide a narrative status report for the project? And we're going to go through and then get, you know, I could include that status narrative within my fields and then be ready to submit. But you can see that it's going through and generating a narrative from the data that I have within my status report page, which again points to the need to we still need to emphasize data quality, and it doesn't really, you know, take away. We still need to go through and make sure that we have everything completed. But you can see here that my my status narrative is actually generated from the data that I've actually been completing within my project plan and my project detail page. Okay, on to the next one. We have a few more. Analyze performance metrics and identify areas for improvement. So this is part of the augmented data retrieval, and it kind of crosses over a few of the use cases. But you know, we're looking at strategy here. So we've gone back to strategy to see what we need to improve. So it's going to the metrics and identifying areas for improvement. So for every one of our OKRs where we can actually have improvement, it's providing us where we could actually be making an improvement. As a PMO lead, I think this is where a lot of the value is going to come in, where you can actually identify patterns on the data. And it actually states, you know, opportunities and potential risks can be observed. So this, I think, would fall also, you know, data anomalies. Yeah. So you can see where things aren't connecting from a data structure standpoint, and it's giving you, you know, opportunities for improvement as well as potential risks. From a portfolio management standpoint, you know, providing a summary of portfolio data. These are, as you can see, we're selecting items that are built within Sophia GPT. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to take these categories of prompts, these use cases, and then, you know, build them into the tool so that they're readily available, and also have you know, support documentation and learning aids. Here we've actually gone through and also asked for, you know, the highest risk projects and an explanation of why they are highest risk. So you can, within the same data set, continue your prompts to do further analysis. But this one is you know, directly within the solution. We get into the cost management side and forecast completion and spending. Here we're within our modeler tool. This is our modeler module within OnePlan that allows you to define scenarios. So we can even apply Sophia GPT within modeler. So here we're going to go and use one of the out-of-the-box prompts, which is which plans allow me to maximize benefits while minimizing cost. And it's going through and responding based on the data for the model that I have built. And I'm going to go further and ask, okay, which project should I cancel? It's actually using, you know, benefits to budget ratio calculation. You know, I could have added a specific formula if I want it to be calculated, but in this case, it actually recommended a benefit to budget ratio to see which ones I should be canceling. And I really appreciate the comment. It says, you know, canceling projects might have other impacts on that are not directly visible from the data. Now, within OnePlan, within Modeler, you can actually open what's called a visualizer and also identify dependencies. So, you know, what Sophia GPT is telling you here, that you need to actually take into account dependencies before you actually go and, you know, go ahead and cancel any of these projects. Continuing on now from a budget and plan optimization for a project manager. I'm kind of jumping around in terms of the roles, but I'm really trying to address the specific use cases. So budget and plan optimization, the one that we're working with here is for a specific schedule. And I think this is interesting because it's actually recommending areas where I can actually, optimize duration in order to, make my schedule more achievable. And it's going through and giving me, again, suggested days where that can be removed. So the solution says optimized schedule can reduce duration by 9 days. Total effort remains the same, but the optimized schedule can lower cost by reducing resource time spent on each task. So again, possible solution for optimizing the schedule. And could we have done this ourselves? Absolutely. The time that it would take to come up with a solution, is probably greater than this proposal that we can then evaluate and then commit to the schedule. So for a project manager, very valuable. Rank resources by highest risk and explain. Let's see, is this, so now we're going to move to the resource plan. This is a resource management scenario, and we're at an individual plan, but just as valuable for a project manager. And we're going here and getting the specific name resources that are in my resource plan, and showing, which we could see from the grid, the over allocations, and even where we have generic resources that we haven't actually addressed. It actually tells you, lack of attention. So the resource is either over allocated, that's been identified, or we actually haven't identified the named resource. Moving on to providing a resource plan, I found this one to be very helpful. So you have a new project, and you have to come up with a sample resource plan that breaks down hours and months. So it's actually going through and giving a recommendation, a suggestion in terms of the resources that I should use and their allocation over time. And you can see that, on a monthly basis, I'm being provided hours by resource type, by generic resource. Now, OnePlan gives you the ability to then identify from the generic resource a named resource that you can actually assign to that work. And depending on the model you're using internally in your organization, if it has to go to a resource manager previously, or you can actually, make the direct assignment. You can use, this data as a proposal, again, based on the project. And within OnePlan, we, within our resource planning capability, you can do top-down resource planning, which is really what this scenario is highlighting. So you can, what's called our committed resource plan could be derived from this. Now let's take it to the next level where, again, a resource estimate's a big part of the use case. So can we actually now identify opportunities to reduce waste, increase efficiency, productivity? So VGBT is thinking and will give us a recommendation on how we can do that within this, within our resource plan. And again, we're using the top-down committed resource plan, which you see here. So it's going through and telling me that indicate over allocation and under allocation respectively. In May, we have a developer that's over allocated. It's making recommendations for cross-training employees. That's a common theme in order to be able to use resources accordingly, streamline process, utilize resource leveling, plan for contingencies. So some of them are actual, very, very specific workload allocation issues that it's identifying, but also providing just some general guidelines on how to go about improving and optimizing resources. The question that we get asked a lot, can we actually define, which resources do we need to hire? And we've actually included that prompt out of the box within VGPT, and then we can get a general recommendation in terms of, the over allocation that are shown within a summary resource plan. Further, you can, this one, it can be asked directly, how many resources per role. And it's actually recommending based on the number of hours, the FTEs that might be required by resource. I think this is very, very helpful. It looks like IT business analyst, 2 additional resources, developer 2 to 3. And again, it's using the committed resource plan data. Well, again, to my earlier point, now we really need to focus on making sure that there's very high data integrity and these resource estimates if we're actually going to be, trying to optimize with Sophia GPT. Financial data, similar type of analysis can be derived here. Insights from financial data. Again, this is one of the ones that we have directly out of the box. What are the key insights or trends can be inferred from this financial data? We go further and ask whether we can have any recommendations, based on those insights and trends, and it's telling us to, reassess personnel costs, review budget allocation for critical phases, investigate. So again, nothing specific, but just general recommendations on how we can go about improving our cost plan. Risk identification, another important area of use case, and it applies across all the different levels of strategic portfolio management. In this case, we've gone and applied it to a project. So what are potential risks for our privacy, our project? And it's actually also giving us mitigation strategies, which are great. So again, as applicable, we can take this content and include it directly within the OnePlan work types, together with any other that our team might have identified. All right, so that concludes kind of the overview. What I tried to do was highlight the analyst-defined use cases for strategic portfolio management and how OnePlan is actually defining the use of Sophia GPT based on these use cases. Going back to, we want to provide value to every one of the personas within SPM at the 3 different levels: strategic execution management, the EPMO scenario, and the IIPA. We're just scratching the surface, so you can expect to see a lot more in terms of our prompts or our analysis based on those use cases across all 3 of the scenarios. So in terms of summary next steps, I've highlighted again how SPM combines the required use cases for enterprise performance management. I have given you how OnePlan provides a complete strategic portfolio management solution in the Microsoft Cloud. Generative AI will add significant value to SPM teams in terms of analytics, insights, and data gathering. You saw that through the demonstration of the results from Sophia GPT, and we think it's going to be a key component to strategic portfolio management in terms of accelerating the analysis and data input that project managers, PMO leads, resource managers, strategy leads have to work within SPM. And Sophia GPT is available right now within OnePlan, and it leverages Azure OPn AI. So there's no additional cost. It's included within our enterprise subscription. So a user of OnePlan can leverage it to complete their task based on their role. For those of you that don't know us, OnePlan is a recognized leader in the strategic portfolio management space within the Microsoft ecosystem. We've been Partner of the Year several times and finalist during that time frame. Also, in a number of competencies, it's an organization that really prides itself in supporting customers improve their portfolio management as a capability over the long term, because it is a continued journey to improve internally. The scenarios I addressed today are within our strategic portfolio management solution template, which is available within AppSource. So if you're interested, please feel free to give it a trial. All you really need is to have a Microsoft business account in order to stand up a trial. And if you need any help, please let us know. I list there all of the other solution templates that we have, and if you can test out depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what's the problem that we're trying to solve within your organization. Like I said, feel free to go and check our trials and test Sophia GPT. And if you need a personalized one-on-one demo, feel free to also make contact so that we can support you. Thank you very much for your time. My email is listed there. If you need any additional assistance, please feel free to make contact so that we can support you. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in our next webinar.